Good evening and welcome to Law Talk, the show that brings the law, the Constitution, and current events to your house, in your apartment, in your life. Tonight, myself, James Barrett, with Mark Malachowski, we have three more subjects that will enlighten your understanding of what's going on in the world today. Mark, what are we covering?
Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the Obamacare rollout, which is, really exciting for a lot of people, but it's created some controversy.
And when we're talking about the rollout, we're talking about what started on October 1st. Is that correct?
Well, actually, this started about 3 or 4 years ago. They've been gradually working on it and trying to, figure out what's in the bill. There was quite a lengthy bill. I forget how many pages.
2,700 pages.
2,700 pages, and when it was passed, didn't Pelosi say something pretty famous?
Yeah, she did. She said, we have to pass it to know what's in it. And boy, have we found out what's in it.
No, we're just beginning. There's a lot of things. There's issues about whether you can keep your plan, whether you can keep your doctor. There's taxes in there that people weren't aware of. There's all kinds of details that, it's a surprise after surprise. So it's really exciting.
Is that the bill that just keeps giving?
Yeah, I think.
Is it like the living bill?
And yeah, it is. It's a lot like the living bill. Now, there's a guy named Joe Ario. I hope that's the pronunciation is right. And he helped design these exchanges, right?
Okay.
And he said, well, some people have to pay more, because they're going to have to get maternity leave and mental health care and different things that they may not have had in their individual plans or other plans.
But why would I want maternity leave?
Well, because we want everything to be equal and fair.
Oh, even though I'm not going to have a baby?
Yeah, well, that doesn't matter because it's not being fair to people who are having babies, for people not having babies, not have to pay for people having babies.
Oh, so the people that are not having babies have to pay for the people that are having babies?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay. And and what he said about these individually insured people, well, individually insured people are the first people to kind of get the weight of this bill. In other words, to feel the pain of the bill, I guess.
Well, wait a minute. You're talking about where all the notices are going out from a variety of health care, the insurance companies, to people that have individual plans. Isn't that what you're talking about,
Well, yeah,
Mark?
they're being hit first, and they've got, some of them have, like I had a client called and said, theirs is going from, a few $100s to $1,100, basically doubling or tripling in cost, and so they're going to lose their individual plans.
But wait a minute. I understand for 3 years I've heard the president say, if you like your insurance, you can keep it, period. Are you trying to tell me now that nobody's going to be able to keep their insurance if they're an individual plan holder?
President Obama said that he did not say that.
He did say that. Is that what you're telling me?
He did not say that.
What did he say?
He said what he did say is you can keep your plan, you can keep your doctor if, and I'm paraphrasing here, if your plan hasn't changed since the bill was enacted. So that's what he's actually said. Now, there's a lot of people running around saying that he said you can keep your health plan, period, you can keep your doctor, period, but the president has said that no, that's not what he said. What he said was you can keep your plan if your plan hasn't changed since we passed the bill.
Well, I understand in California there's already been 1 million cancellation letters gone out. They're estimating countrywide right now it's about 5 million people have lost their health care, mostly in Florida, Texas, California, Oregon, Washington. So it's kind of spread around the country. So I'm trying to figure out, did those people get to keep their health plan?
Well, there's estimated right now about 5 million, and some estimates are up to 130 million will lose their health plans.
Well, I think what they're doing with that is they're saying when this, in 2014, when they roll out the small business part of this plan,
right,
that's where you're going to lose another vast majority of people, because the individual plans are saying there's only a small percentage, and it's interesting the way it's talked about in the administration. It's like, hey, what's 10, 15 million people amongst the country?
100 million.
100 million.
But what Joe Ario said was very interesting. He said, well, the people who are losing this first, the first people who are feeling the pain first are the individually insured, who are basically self-employed, have their own business or small corporations or LLCs. He said individually insured people are, quote, a transient population affiliated with rugged individualism. I'm not sure I'm going to get this entrepreneurship.
No, entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Entrepreneurialism.
That's a very difficult word.
Okay, but hostile to the government taking away something. Okay, so they're saying these guys are individualists and entrepreneurs. So, they are not...
What, they're not worthy?
No, I think these are people that obviously, as we're kind of going through a cultural revolution here, these people need to be re-educated.
Oh, re-educated. I thought they did that in Cambodia, and they've done that in China. Isn't this kind of where it's all going?
No, but I mean, it's re-educated because they don't rely on the government for their sustenance.
Oh, so, but now the government wants them to rely on
Well,
the
at this
government.
point, now they have to go to the government and beg for their health care.
Okay, this leads us to the rollout.
No, but they're being re-educated. Before they thought, I go out, I work hard, I make my own way, I pay for my family, I worship my God, I believe in what I believe in, and I make my own way, and I pay for myself. Well, you can't have that. And Joe,
under Obamacare, you can't have that.
Joe explains that. Joe explains that. He says, but you cannot have an economically viable insurance pool by letting people pick and choose. So if you have choice,
What's way to pick and choose? That's our right as an American citizen.
But this is a direct quote. So you can't have people picking and choosing. You can't have individuals, and you can't have entrepreneurs.
You mean you can't have people that believe in their own, earn a dollar for themselves, keep the dollar, spend the dollar as they choose to?
Well, like, give an example. Let's say I say, okay, I'll wash your car for $10, right? So I wash your car, you pay me $10. That type of I can never say the word, but entrepreneurism.
And yes,
entrepreneurs must be crushed. Crushed. That must be crushed, because what the government's supposed to do is like, Jim, you have a dirty car. We're going to fine you $100 to clean your car, and then we'll pay Mark $5 to clean the car, and then I pay my $2.50 in taxes. Government clears $97.50 or $97.50. I get my $2.50 because the government never has enough.
It never has enough.
Well, that's what Sebelius said. How much do you need for your health?
Sebelius, you're talking about Kathleen Sebelius, the head of Healthy Human Services.
When Congress said, how much do you need to run this? Never enough. There's never enough. There's no upper limit. There's no budget.
Yeah, but how can you control a budget? That's normal. How
I mean, but $100 to wash your car is nothing. Maybe it should be $1,000 or $10,000, or just take the car. The government needs everything, more than everything. Okay, and so now, at first they said, look, you can keep your health plan. And they said it's save you $2,500, right? And it's not going to go for the deficit, right? It's not going to increase the deficit. Won't increase taxes. But wait a minute.
There's 20 taxes in the health care law, the Affordable Care Act.
Okay.
And wait a minute. One of the big taxes, I'm going to jump ahead of you on this, is there's a 3.8% tax on real property and profits. Isn't that correct?
Okay, so this is kind of a surprise for people.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
Nobody knew it was in there until we passed the bill, right?
Okay, so it's a 3.8% surtax on investment income for individuals making more than $200,000 a year. So these are the millionaires and billionaires. And
the millionaires and billionaires, that's $200,000 a year.
And what's interesting about the millionaire billionaires, because there was a thing about like the 99% and the 1%. Actually, what's happening is you've got the 8%. 8% of the U.S. population works for the government, and they're spending about $5 trillion a year. Now, it looks like Obamacare, instead of costing whatever the $100 billion it was supposed to cost, looks like it's going to cost about $10 trillion.
Yeah, I did hear that number coming down.
Yeah, so
isn't that a little more expensive than they estimated? The CBO estimated that.
Well, you know, they were.
What's a trillion?
They were kidding. They were kidding. So basically, you've got 8% of the population spending now is going to be $5, $6, $7 trillion a year. So I mean, let's forget about income. I mean, the people spending the money in this country are the 8%.
Right.
They're taking from the 92%. That 8% is spending all the money, right? And so the argument about 1%, 90% really doesn't matter. But anyway, it's interesting about this 3.8%. Okay, and so now what happens? Actually, in 2012, they increased capital gains from 15 to 20% for people making over $400,000. So now, instead of paying 15%, if you invest in something, you're going to pay a 23.8% on net investment income.
Isn't that actually nearly doubling the capital gains tax?
It's a 58% increase.
58%.
And so right now, when you have an economy that's slow and you're saying, well, invest in my company, invest in my startup, people are like, invest in your startup, I'm going to hit with a 58% increase.
Why would I want to invest?
Why would you want? No, people are still investing, but they're not investing in the United States. Well, they're investing overseas. They're not hiring here in the United States.
Is all this you're telling me is related to the Affordable Care Act?
Definitely, that 3.8% is definitely going to make people say, look, I'm not going to put my money in the United States. I can put it over here. And besides, look at corporate tax rate here, what, 28%? You can go to Ireland, it's 8%. There's no surcharge. There's no, I mean, come on. You can, but basically what this is doing is forcing people to invest overseas, or people that are overseas who invest in the United States are not going to, because it just doesn't make sense anymore. So you're stalling the economy.
Well, so you're trying to tell me not only did the Affordable Care Act bring up 20 new taxes we didn't know about, not only did the Affordable Care Act create a situation where there's absolutely no hope that the individual policyholder can keep their insurance, and that small businesses are going to be affected, and a total
LLCs pass through.
LLCs, all the taxes, everybody's going to be affected by this.
Well, there is some
but
hope.
Who's going to get the benefit from this?
Well, the benefit is the 8%. The government's going to have more money coming through them. Okay, you're going to hire navigators, you're going to hire more IRS agents, and the IRS agents, like the last time when they excluded the Tea Party from voting, I mean, they'll be more involved in the election, so because they're going to appoint new leaders to the central government.
Right.
So, you know, the IRS is expanding, the navigators expanding, the central, I don't know if you can call it the federal government anymore, but the central government.
Central government?
Yeah, the central government is expanding.
I don't like that kind of terminology.
No, but I mean, it's not really, because the federal government...
Are we part of the homeland now?
No, but I mean, a federal government would say there's states' rights and individual rights. This is a central government that's basically a coalition of, you know, the unions and the governments and corporations that are getting a lot of corporate welfare. And, you know, so you got a central government, and then, of course, there's the party apparatus.
Yeah, you know, why don't we just hold off here, because I know that we have 2 more subjects, and I got to tell you.
One more thing on that. There is a charitable remainder trust that if you have appreciated investments, okay, if you put that into a charitable remainder trust, you can sell that, take 5% of that annually, and then when you die, that goes to the charitable trust, and the beneficiaries will still have to pay capital gains on that charitable trust, you know, on that 5%.
I think we need to cover that in a different segment, because that's a completely different...
But it'll be over a longer period.
Beyond the Affordable Care Act.